On September 10th, 2025, a single gunshot echoed inside a crowded debate hall at Utah Valley University. Within seconds, chaos, panic, screams, and then silence. One of the most polarizing figures in American politics, Charlie Kirk, lay on the floor gone. He was only 31 years old. But who was Charlie Kirk? How did a young man from the suburbs of Chicago rise to become a kingmaker in conservative politics? And why did his life end so suddenly, on stage, in front of the very audience he lived for? To understand his shocking death, we have to go back to the beginning. Charlie James Kirk was born on October 14th, 1993, in Arlington Heights, Illinois. By all accounts, he was ordinary, a boy from the suburbs, a kid next door. But beneath the surface, something was brewing. Ambition, restlessness, a hunger to stand out. Unlike many political leaders, Charlie didn't follow the traditional path. He wasn't Ivy League. He wasn't groomed for politics. In fact, he barely lasted a semester at Harper College before dropping out. For most, that's where the story would end. For Charlie, it was only the beginning. At just 18 years old, he co-founded Turning Point USA. What started as a small project became a movement that would spread to high schools and colleges across the country. His goal? Plant conservative beliefs in the hearts of young Americans. But it wasn't just about ideas. Charlie Kirk had a gift. He knew how to provoke. He knew how to challenge. And he knew how to make people look. Every time he walked onto a campus with his Prove Me Wrong debates, crowds formed. Cameras rolled. Students shouted. And whether people agreed with him or hated him, one thing was certain. Everyone was paying attention. Turning Point USA grew quickly, fueled by wealthy donors and conservative networks. Soon, it wasn't just an organization. It was an empire. Under Kirk's leadership came Turning Point Action, Turning Point Faith, and a growing influence that stretched far beyond classrooms. Charlie Kirk had transformed from college dropout to a household name. And then, the White House came calling. Donald Trump embraced him as a loyal ally. In return, Kirk used his platform to rally millions of young conservatives to Trump's side. He wasn't just part of the MAGA movement, he was shaping it. But as his star rose higher, his rhetoric grew sharper. And that's when the controversies began. Charlie Kirk attacked abortion rights. He condemned gun control. He railed against transgender rights. Through the professor watch list and school board watch list, he named and shamed educators who disagreed with him. Supporters called it accountability. Critics called it harassment. But that was only the surface. Kirk began pushing darker ideas, questioning the Civil Rights Act of 1964, criticizing Martin Luther King Jr., spreading misinformation about COVID-19, repeating false claims about the 2020 election. He even promoted the Great Replacement conspiracy theory. Each time, the outrage grew louder. But so did his following. The more people tried to silence him, the more powerful he became. Then came the shift that surprised even his own allies. At first, Kirk kept religion at a distance. But as America's culture wars deepened, he leaned into something bigger, Christian nationalism. He argued that the United States should not just be influenced by Christianity, but governed by it. This was no longer just politics. It was a crusade, and it electrified his base. But with every new speech, with every bold claim, with every fight he picked, the list of people who despised Charlie Kirk grew longer. And somewhere on that list was someone who would eventually take his life. September 10th, 2025, Utah Valley University. Students packed into the hall, buzzing with anticipation. Tonight, Kirk would face off in one of his signature debates. It was supposed to be just another event in a long line of fiery showdowns. He thrived on nights like this. But no one in that room could have imagined what was about to happen. The debate began. Kirk spoke with confidence, challenging his opponents, gesturing sharply as the crowd reacted. For him, this was routine. For the audience, it was thrilling. And then, gunfire. The sound ripped through the air. Screams erupted. Panic spread as students dove for cover. In seconds, the room turned into chaos. And there, on the floor of the stage, lay Charlie Kirk. The man who had built an empire was gone. News traveled instantly. Within minutes, every major outlet in America flashed the same headline: Charlie Kirk shot dead during live debate. Supporters were stunned. Critics were silent. And even those who opposed him most fiercely had to admit it was a chilling moment for the nation. His assassination became more than the story of one man. It became a warning of what America had become: a nation divided, a nation on edge, a nation where words and ideas could now end in blood. In the days that followed, vigils were held across the country. Candles flickered in the night. Crowds gathered in prayer. For his supporters, Kirk was a martyr, a man killed for refusing to back down. For his enemies, it was a reminder of just how dangerous political violence had become. On September 21st, thousands will gather inside Arizona's State Farm Stadium for his official memorial service. It will be a spectacle fitting for a man who built his life on the stage. But behind the tributes, one question lingers. Was Charlie Kirk a hero who spoke truth to power, or a provocateur whose words pushed America to the edge? His legacy is complicated. He was a dropout who became a national leader, a young man who turned controversy into influence, a figure who blurred the line between activism and extremism, loved by millions, hated by millions more. But whether you admired him or despised him, one thing cannot be denied: Charlie Kirk was unforgettable. And though his voice has been silenced, his influence will echo for years to come. Because Charlie Kirk is gone, but the America he shaped, the America he divided, inspired, and enraged remains. And that is the final twist in his story.